guys, welcome back to my channel. So a little while ago I did a video showing McCoy's improvement in his flat work, and I decided I wanted to do the same thing with his jumping. So let's get into it. We're starting out a few days after I got him. As you can see, he has no balance over the fences and really doesn't have much of like an actual movement. This is in the end of February. Still, he's kind of just like doing his just trying, but they're not really nice fences, and he's starting to rush towards them, which is not good. But as you can see, he has very little balance over the fences, and he really just isn't having much of a form. Then we move into the end of May. We're still seeing very little balance and very little form. He's not really bringing his knees together like he needs to. Then we move to our first show. He's finally starting to bring his knees together, but still he's really rushing and he has no balance in his lines, as well as he's having problems being able to see strides. He's also just not very forward towards the fences here because he is scared of what they look like, but still he has very little balance in them. Here is our show at the end of August of 2017. Still, he has very little balance towards the fences, and he's still starting to have issues with strides and being able to fit the strides in the correct amount. Overall, he's just starting to bring his knees together and start to have sort of a form, but it's still not looking very nice. And we move into our third show. That was a really nice jump. He's starting to bring his knees together, but he's still bolting towards fences. This is our 3/6 jump. That was very nice, but this one was our first lesson after him off stall rest. He's finally starting to chill out and bring more of a form and balance. This was our first show after stall rest. He's really starting to bring his knees together and kind of balance over the fences, kind of lean back and then push forward, which is very nice. As you can see, he's starting to lean back on his haunches and push forward, which is very pretty. He's finally starting to get down the movement. Here is one of our first high jumps. Overall, it still needs work, but here he's finally starting to bring his knees together more and really pick himself up. He's still dropping his back feet though. As you can see, he almost always clips it with his back feet. Here we started to dabble into tackless, and then we started to dabble into jumpers. During jumpers, he really started to be able to pick up his feet more because he was allowed to have a faster pace than hunters, which really allowed him to kind of open up and go for it, rather than just trying to stay back and balance, because then he was focused on trying to stay slow, which he's not good at. Here was another dabble we did into tackless. Then we did some smaller jumps, really focusing on balance. And then he finally started to slow down towards fences. This is the first one after my surgery. Overall, he's really starting to bring his knees together and have more of a form. And he's kind of built that form as this is what his usual form now. And he's finally starting to jump kind of nicer, and he's starting to slow down. Here we're in the middle of April, and he's finally starting to really slow down and build his form. We're working on bendy lines now, which is quite an improvement from just working on straight lines because he couldn't control his urges to run. But he is finally starting to have much nicer lines, and they are looking very pretty. And he's finally starting to really balance in over the jump instead of just throwing himself at him. And he's also finally starting to see the strides he needs to. Here we're finally able to move up to a bit bigger jumps because he is starting to finally balance again, and he's not just throwing himself at fences. Overall now he's really just starting to have very consistent jumps, and they're starting to look very pretty, which is nice compared to how much we used to have to fight to get him to have good jumps. This is our most recent show. As you can see, he's really starting to listen and kind of calm down towards jumps. Obviously he's at a show, so he's more hyper than he usually is, but overall these are really nice jumps, and he's finally starting to listen. Because he's finally starting to listen, he's finally able to do short strides and things like rollbacks.